Screen echoes from the valley, telling the African story.
As nations across the world get ready to resume economic activities in view of the new normal ushered in by the coronavirus lockdown, which has persisted globally for over 7 months, industries, parastatals, companies and markets whose operations had been limited or stalled are geared up to resume from where the pandemic paused them at, make up for lost time, and face what now looks like an entirely new beginning. It's the wake of a new dawn for many economies around the globe. And even though the pandemic succeeded in slowing down or completely aborting many of the plans most organizations, both public and private, had for their anticipated line of achievements for the year, it will be agreed that going on, the world cannot continue to dwell on the issue of the pandemic alone.
COVID-19 has affected everybody all over the world. Not peculiar to Nigeria, not peculiar to the ministry. But in our case, just like in all mining jurisdictions, since the COVID thing set in, all this has been cancelled. For now, the Nigerian Mining Week 2020 will now be done virtually. Not the same that we had anticipated when we had the one for 2019. We had said, look, 2020 will be grander. We had that at the NAF base in, is it Wado or Kado? There, yes, in Kado. And we said, look, we wanted something grander this year, but man proposes. So we went to pay for the International Conference Center, which is a lot bigger, and we wanted something grander, put Nigeria on the mining map. Well, like you said, the COVID setting. Apart from that, COVID has impacted on some of our policies, things that we would love to have done. Normally, by this time, we will have continued with our international road show, and of course, with the results that come from it. But all these are in abeyance, and just like I said, it has affected everybody all over the world.
When on the 15th day of January 1956, oil was first commercially discovered in Nigeria in a small remote creek community called Oloibiri, which brought an end to a 50-year unsuccessful search for oil by various international oil companies, the country was thrown into limelight as one of the world's petro-states. This singular achievement was a major commercial discovery that opened numerous other doors, potential for the boosting of the nation's economic status. As more oil wells were subsequently discovered in different other quarters of southern Nigeria, and with the attainment of the production level of over 2 million barrels of crude oil per day, Nigeria became the largest oil-producing country in Africa, necessitating her to join in the host body of the petroleum exporting countries, OPEC, in 1971. The crude oil has for over 5 decades been Nigeria's major source of revenue, with little or no thought to the need for diversification to embrace development of other economic sectors, with the consideration that oil, just like other mineral resources the earth produces, is finite.
I want us to be careful, and that's why we're doing more than just producing gold in a raw form or minerals in a raw form. All these minerals are finite. It's just like our oil and gas. One day the oil will be finished, the gas will be finished. So it's not just to produce the oil and gas, it's for the ability to transform the oil and gas into other derivatives, to create industries from that, to create technology. And that's what we're now doing. Not, they say the cost of oil. To avoid that, cost of minerals, to avoid that, we're saying, look, don't just excavate the gold from ground and sell. We're going to create a whole industry out of that. And that's why we had the gold dobber. The ultimate aim is to try and build a gold souk in Kano.
When it comes to mining gold in Africa, the western side of the continent is the best go-to. West Africa is home to many explorers as well as a slew of major companies focused on extracting the metal. Ghana, Mali and Burkina Faso are 3 of West Africa's most active gold mining countries, with Mali coming 3rd place on the list of the biggest gold-producing nations in Africa after South Africa and Ghana. In 2018, Ghana took front stage of being Africa's largest miners of gold, a position that was held by South Africa for about 130 years. Ghana, which has been a key player in the African mining industry since the 19th century, in 2018 recorded an impressive 12% jump in its output. The Gold Coast produced 180 tons, and the region hosts more estimated reserves than key gold-producing countries like Peru and Papua New Guinea. Same year, this huge breakthrough in its gold production revenue saw the country through experiencing a major economic growth with a GDP raise of 6.3%. With an output of 4.8 million ounces in 2018, topping South Africa's 4.2 million ounces total for the very first time. Beating South Africa, whose mining industry has been consistently plagued by industrial militancy, didn't come too much as a surprise. In Mali, gold production came to 61.2 metric tons in 2018, up from 49.6 metric tons in 2017. This shots the country up the ladder to becoming the third largest gold producer in Africa. This is in part due to the efforts of artisanal miners, because just like in Ghana, Mali is home to so many artisanal miners. Mali's government is optimistic about the future potentials of gold production in the country, although the mining sector in Mali is largely unregulated and plagued with challenges like fatal accidents, smuggling, child labor, and environmental damages. The government has been on and about plans to supervise operations and give miners access to financing, but unfortunately, progress has been slow. Burkina Faso, on the other hand, has its economy majorly dependent on agriculture and mining, and for this, the government is very committed to providing infrastructural improvements to make further developments possible. In 2018, Burkina Faso recorded an annual production of 59.3 tons, and the government has high hopes of a significant increase in its mining potential. The reality of the reduction in the production of oil in Nigeria and the nosedive of global oil price from $100 per barrel in 2014 to below $30 in 2016 raised the consciousness in the Nigerian government to begin seeking ways for resource diversification.
Mining was a mainstay in Nigeria. With oil and gas, we all shifted focus and went back into oil and gas and left mining of the minerals behind.
Although Nigeria has always been home to high-quality mineral resources, it appears that the mining industry for many years laid fallow and hasn't been a major contributor to the nation's GDP as expected, due to some factors such as no data, corruption in the system, and gross mismanagement of these resources.
I think we must acknowledge and thank President Muhammadu Buhari. He's the first ever president in the history of Nigeria to have given money to the sector outside the budgetary cycle. There was an intervention fund that was given sometime in 2017, and that's about 30 billion naira. Half of that was dedicated to this data collection, through a project called NIMEP, National Integrated Mineral Exploration Project, and all that. But we need to go further on that. So we're getting the results from the first NIMEP that was done. We need to do further exploration and all that. So we are in that process now where we're gathering our papers, to go back and say thank you to Mr. President. This is what we are spent on. These are the results that we're getting, but we need more. So we're in that process where we're putting our papers together to go back to council, to go back to Mr. President and ask for further intervention outside the budgetary cycle. That's the only way we can overcome this challenge.
Nigeria has a rich history in the production of gold, which has been found to exist in many states.
Kano used to be a center of gold trade in Africa, especially West Africa and all that. And we're trying to bring that back. Like I said, we have a lot of gold there, even before the advent of oil and gas. The ultimate aim is to try and build a gold souk in Kano, where anybody that wants to buy gold, Dubai Gold Souk is now something that almost everybody knows about. So people can come to Nigeria and say, we are going to Kano Gold Souk. We have the gold there. And once we have the people who can design fantastic jewelry, even some of the jewelry you buy in Dubai, you buy in India now, in Italy, are designed by Nigerians. But because you don't have the market here, and that's what we're trying to create. Nigerians go there, create their own design, and they are sold over there. Some of them, of course, when they design, it's made for them over there and they bring it back home to sell. We're saying, look, why don't we have the whole value chain in Nigeria? Design and make them in Nigeria. And that's what the Doba was all about.
The value of gold can never be overestimated. In centuries of old, The Egyptian pharaohs were buried wearing it. So was gold a distinguisher of class in the ancient Roman Empire. But why many in the West today look at gold primarily as a safe haven and investment? Gold jewelry remains a very important part of several cultures, often for reasons tied to its value as an investment. In fact, jewelry represents the greatest demand for gold, followed by retail investment, that is bars and coins, the net official sector, the central banks, and industrial fabrication.
The jewelry like you're wearing now, you see, we'll export raw gold out of Nigeria. And the gold that will make this your bangle, maybe we'll sell it to Dubai for maybe about, let's say, $2,000. You go back to Dubai and you go and buy that bangle for maybe $20,000, times 10 the value. So what we're trying to do is create that value within Nigeria. So we're in the process, we're going to train people who can make jewelry. We started that process. We're bringing in experts from Germany who will train the trainers. So we're going to have about 45 people from all over the country who will be the trainers. They are selected from every state. And then, of course, they'll be gathered here. The trainers will train them for about 9 months. It's something that's intense, and so only serious people can participate. We're encouraging women to do this because they have that propensity for gold. So we'll train them. We train these people, and they will now train other people. But the whole essence is that we'll retain the value of gold in Nigeria. We just don't export raw gold, you know, or whatever and whatever for maybe 99.9 and all that. Somebody now makes into jewelry and sell to you at times 10. We can train our people to make jewelry. So people can even come into Nigeria to come and buy jewelry. So by that, we are retaining the value in the country.
Despite the challenges many African countries have been faced with in the mining sector, it is worthy of note that the African gold market is expanding and becoming more and more lucrative globally as governments of the African nations where gold is produced is putting a lot of regulations to ensure that the locally produced gold competes side by side in the international gold market, and other mineral resources found alongside gold are also well refined and accurately valued for more benefits.
There are other things that we're doing with gold, you know, like turning gold into jewelry, which is another aspect of gold. We're also looking at the possibility of, you see, gold into cash. You know, it's something that's been done in some country and all that. A woman has a lot of jewelry and all that. This jewelry, you can deposit in a bank and you're given a certificate of value. With this certificate, maybe your jewelry is worth about 2 million naira. You can use that certificate to obtain money. That's also, you see, instead of all these idle wealth, sort of, you know, that women lock up in their houses, you know, or some of them now, they've just taken them to storage places because of all these marauders that come at night. But that can also be used to boost the economy. That's another aspect we are looking at gold, so that, you see, we can give value to your gold, and that value can be translated to cash. It's a sort of, if you want to call it, is collateral. It's a specialized market. Nigeria is not into it, but we want to introduce it so that we have specialized, because you have to do valuation, proper valuation for the gold. So you must have all the equipments to say, oh, this gold is okay, this gold is, this ring you have brought has about 90% of gold in it, and it's worth this much. And we can evaluate that total cost and put it in cash. So you deposit the gold there and you have a certificate of deposit. The certificate of deposit could be 100 million naira.
Even though some African nations believe that illegal miners pose a huge threat to their country's potentials for higher revenue from the production of their mineral resources, architect Adegbite feels otherwise. The Nigerian government, under the umbrella of the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Initiative, PAGMI, intends to consolidate the rural illegal miners to enable them earn a lucrative return for their efforts while contributing massively to the nation's GDP.
As it is today, it's mostly, some will say 95, some will dare say 98, 90% of artisanal mining. What we mean by artisanal mining is, you know, people who are mostly have come into mining maybe because that's what the generation have always done. You know, they met their parents doing the thing, not necessarily in a formalized manner. You know, they don't really have licenses and all that. All they do is that, look, maybe at the back of the house, in the neighborhood, within the village, they have this mineral present, and they mine them, in the crudest form that they can do that. So these are artisanal miners, and you see, you find out that these artisanal miners are mostly concentrated on gold. Why? Because gold brings you immediate gratification. Gold in itself, because of the high value of gold, even the small bit of gold that you find, a small nugget, has a value that's substantial, unlike other metals. Before you can really make anything, you have to get a lot of that. So we found that a lot of artisanal miners all over the country are involved in gold mining. So there was this presidential initiative, which you said is presidential artisanal, that's the AM there, artisanal miner gold mining development initiative. This is essentially for government to support these artisanal miners. It's part of the creating employment, diversifying the economy, and at the same time bringing more revenue to government. That's the focus of that PAGMI. And what it does essentially is that government started aside some funds and said, look, okay, let's help these people who are doing artisanal mining in gold. So we identified 5 states where that's presently taking place. And that will be Zamfara, Niger, Kaduna, Kebbi, and of course, Osun states. There are other states that have gold, but these 5 states were identified, and 2 of them were picked for the pilot stage.
In Ghana, small producers account for the largest share of the total output of its gold production, although the nation also hosts some of the biggest gold miners. Ghana is home to 23 mines, with a large portion of those being gold mines. Other reasons gold mining thrives in Ghana is the fact that miners benefit from lower cost mines, friendlier government policies, and new development projects. For instance, the government of Ghana's 10% free carry stake in all mining companies provides a level of security to the investment. All these, other gold-producing countries like Nigeria that seek to grow their economies through gold can take a clue from.
Mining itself is all about data, acquiring data, because what we're talking about is something that's hidden. It's under the ground. For people to put their money in there, they need to have some reasonable assurance that what they're after will be worth their while. And so you need to de-risk the sector. That has to be done on the government side. And of course, for you to de-risk the sector, you need to acquire data. Data, of course, costs money. This has been a major challenge in the sector. We need more funding to acquire more data to de-risk the sector. We are inviting, we go on road shows and we invite foreign investors to come and invest and all that. Anybody that wants to put his money on any particular mineral wants to be reassured that, look, by the time I put $100 million or $200 million, I have a reasonable expectation to get something more than that, maybe twice as that, so that it will be worth my while. So, and that's the thing about this. The ultimate is to take your data to what they call the bankable stage, which is a very expensive venture. Okay, you do what you call an aeromagnetic survey, something you do from there, and then with your knowledge of geology and all that, you have indication that, oh, this mineral is present in this neighborhood. But then, to what extent? At what depth? What will it cost to bring it out? What's the value under the ground there? This can only be acquired by data. So, if you ask me, that's the most fundamental challenge in the sector, is to have adequate funding for us to acquire more data so that it becomes a lot easier.
As Nigeria walks towards the path of mining, refining and exporting her gold profitably and competitively to other parts of the world, thus shifting reliance on crude oil to gold and other mineral resources found replete underneath the nation's soil, it will be in her best advantage to take a clue from the likes of South Africa and Ghana, which though have over the years benefited largely from gold, are now being faced with the dangers of not taking advantage of economic diversification on mining code reforms. With the actualization of this long-time dream for resource diversification in the nearest future in Nigeria, there would certainly be a fair opening for qualified investors to benefit alongside other anticipated PAGMI beneficiaries.
Gold is transported in a specialized form. It's like cash, so you can't afford to just treat it anyhow. So there will be, of course, opportunity for investors. It's open, people to provide transportation, bullion transportation. You have to have armored vehicles, even some armored helicopters are used to, yes, from remote sources, because you see, gold is sourced in some remote areas, and it's something because it has so much value. You have this lump of gold as what may be about $1 million. You can't just transport it anyhow, because once somebody takes off, it's a lot of money. So even you have that, and that's part that is already been developed and is coming up. Some people will bring in all those specialized helicopters, which of course is used to move gold from remote locations to the refinery. And all that. Like I said, the location of the refinery here in Abuja is very close to the airport. It was located particularly because of that. And of course, the one in Ogun State, proximity to the Lagos International Airport. It's somewhere along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway there, somewhere in Mowe, so that, of course, they can fly in. Whether you are bringing something from any remote location, you can land at the airport. And, of course, like I said, those specialized helicopters or even bullion vans can move them to those locations. Yes, gold itself has comes with its attendant opportunities, and that's why I say it's a whole ecosystem. And I've talked about turning into cash, making jewelries and all that. So it's something, and of course benefiting the CBN as well.
However, while the consciousness of a possible decline of the natural supply of these mineral resources remain valid and advisable, Deutsche Bank has argued that gold could rise from its current price of $1,500 per ounce to $1,800 in a global recession. Ian Alex, head of global mining at Ashurst in London, agrees that if the current uncertainty in global markets continues, then gold is likely to remain a safe bet for gold-producing nations.
Screen echoes from the valley, telling the African story.